When we're talking about the things within ourselves, one of the explanations that I've given to you is that all the things that we feel are energy, just energy, okay? So, to be objective, that's all we can say, okay? Now, how I transcribe that into my opinions of it, it becomes non-objective and becomes subjective. That is, I have something, well, this means this, and this feels this way, and this feels that way. It just feels. See what I'm saying? But to be objective is to just see something for what it is. Shut down the words and let it be itself. So in terms of what we do, we just listen and we kind of accept.
Where should I be?
Be where you are. Be where you are. That's about the best answer I can give. Because, see, self-awareness takes on several faces. There's a self-awareness that tells you what you are not. That is the self-awareness of all the many, many attitudes and moods and thoughts that we think of as ourselves. And we say, I'm aware of myself. Well, okay, you're aware of something about yourself. Now you have to really, one of the things we really are going to have to begin to do is listen to me very, very carefully because of the way I use words. And see, I've become so aware recently that the way I use words and the way people hear those words, so when I say it is about does not mean specifically. It means around you someplace. So when I say the thoughts and things are about you, I don't mean, I mean they are about you. They are not dead on the money. All right? So we call that self-awareness. And that is one level or one place in which we look at self-awareness. But usually when I say self-awareness, I mean the absolute value that is you. Okay? That absolute value is God itself. See, we're talking about something about you, and then we're talking you. So where ultimately you are going to come to, you're going to hit several spaces. And there's no real way to kind of tell you what those spaces are. You'll just hit them and you'll say, you know, there's this kind of weird place. And then we can talk about it. But then when you come ultimately back to stasis, the absoluteness of self, there will be no problem. There will be no question. Does that make sense to you? So just wherever it is that you are, but be aware. Just know what's happening. Just know what's happening here, know what's happening here. And the only way to do that is to just be quiet inside and just pay attention. Listen. Watch. Watch what is happening. Listen to what's being said. And the picture will make itself. It will make itself. And you just be there. Okay, is that?
I have another question that's, I had a hard time sleeping, and I woke up, and I was laying, and suddenly I felt this tug, and I took off. I swear, I was laying there, and I was sitting and watching the moon over the horizon of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't figure anything out. I was sitting there looking at it going, wow.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. And the recognition that I was sitting there looking at that, I shot out. I remember it was passing galaxies, going through galaxies. But I felt this here.
Yeah.
Like that. And I ended up in another place. And something was okay. And it just went. I mean, it really has made a difference.
There's several things, yeah. There's several things in that. And there are always several things in anything. I'll explain that in a minute when we get to this other part of this. But it's your experience. Work with it. And know that truth. This is how, I'll talk about things like the ancients and acupuncture. This is how they found out. This is how they began to know. Okay. It's, they didn't read a book, or Tai Chi. People would be asleep and wake up and their body would be doing things. Or they would be asleep and wake up and find themselves in a yoga position. Oh, wow, man, this is how it happened. See, that's what all knowledge is within you. Everything is there if you let it do what it's supposed to do. It'll tell you. The key thing or the hard part is getting out of the way so that we can do it. Because we've got all this other stuff that we entertain. And we're so busy concentrating on that we screw that up. And not only do we screw that up, but we don't hear what's being said to us. The other thing is, in just being there, watching the moon over the horizon of the earth. That's cool. So sometimes that happens, and then the awareness hits us and we are disturbed and on to something else. And further, you're going to have to, this past lecture and these to come, you're going to have to hear very differently, because what I have to say when we finish with the questions today will tie in directly to a lot of what you're asking, okay, and what you're talking about today. Okay, again, I will address something of language to you about talking to me or hearing what I'm saying to you. In my story, in the beginning, the great God, she slept. If you're an English major, that's not proper. Should have said goddess. No. God, as in non-gendered, but she as in feminine, because what we're talking about is manifestation and non-manifestation. You see. So, when I tell these stories, some of them are funny, some of them are not funny, some of them are weird. You really have to listen. And this is where objectivity comes. You have to kind of listen to the words, and you have to think about, what does that word mean? And why do you do that like that? Okay. In a moment, a flicker, a movement. Movement is the fall from grace. Anything that can be distinguished from the whole has fallen from grace. That becomes God. There's that non-gendered term, the masculine. Okay? That gendered term. It becomes aggressive or aggression. Okay? So, that which cannot be seen and that which can be seen, both faces of the one God, or the one being, or whatever word you want to use. Now notice I gave you these words, and then I came back and took the words away. Because language is meant to describe. Language is meant to de-word, to take the words away. You notice I gave you a lot of words. And then I said God, or there it is, or whatever it is you want to call it, saying that whatever you call it, it doesn't matter because that's not it anyway. But I gave you words to describe something happening. So language is meant to describe, to de-word, to de-write. So everything I say to you is absolutely so and a total lie at the same time. You see it? Masculine and feminine in the same statement. Manifested and unmanifested in the same statement. Do you see it? Do you hear it, what I'm saying? This is the nature of the world. The world being manifestation. That is manifested can only be manifested because it is separated from its other half, that which is non-manifested. It can only be because it has fallen from stasis, from grace. A movement, a flicker. God, the form, was born. Light was born in all its manifestations. Light. Let there be light, and there was light. The mere recognition of allowing light is light. Simultaneously, it happens with the recognition. Light, in all of its manifestations, vibration, movement, from the shortest wavelength to the longest wavelength. That which manifests all things exists because of its own vibratory frequencies. A planet, very long vibratory frequencies. God itself, or as close to God as one can get in form, a very short vibratory frequency. The shortest recognizable frequency is thought, recognizable to the mind's eye. Thought is a vibration. that is recognizable to the mind's eye. All vibratory frequencies shorter than thought you can only be. You cannot recognize. You cannot recognize it. You can only be it. You can only be it. To live in the world of thought removes you from the shorter wavelengths, because you are focused in the wavelength of thought rather than in the wavelengths of being. You should think about this. The movement, the fall from grace. Movement, vibration. All that is in time, is in space. All that is in agitation. Movement. Not the, you call it, I'm agitated. Well, that's only a kind of agitation. All that is in agitation. Adjustation, adjusting, to adjust is to move. Adjustation, agitation, constantly adjusting from one point. You call it vibration. And the numbers of times it does this in your physical world, you call vibratory frequency. The numbers of times that is there in 1 second, you call frequency. But it is there in 1 second, but also is not its opposite side there in the same second, just below that line that you recognize with your eyes. So as it crosses this line, it's there and it's not there, but it's not being there is its opposite side. Because you have sensory organs that are geared to vibration or agitation or adjustation, you have to use seconds of being in my sight. The amount of times it is in this reality. Law is law. Man has come to the point that he thinks because he can name something and call it a law because it is consistent, that he knows what it is. And we have many, many laws that are in fact the same law. I think I said it before. If you look at an ocean or you look at the lake, the water makes a horizon. The laws of water make a horizon. But if you take a drop of water, it's round. that. The same laws that make it like that, make it like that, depending on the amount that you have. But it's the same law within the water. So the same peak that you see and the valley is the same law, except beyond a certain point you do not see the valley. Yes. Yes. Or the one that you see is the manifestation of the one that you don't see. It is all about vibration. The shortest ones, beyond thought, relate more and more to that which you are. And as you drop the manifested, you see the unity, the other side of the vibration. You experience it as stasis, coming home to God, being that which you are. The focus must come away from the thought to that which is being. All things have their beginning in all that is, or God, or whatever, Allah, whatever all these words are, which, as we haven't found out, mean nothing. Everything that is separated, or has been separate, or that has fallen out of grace, or that has fallen out of stasis, then is a point of vibration with its own center. Its center being the point of vibration of God the Father, or God the aggressive, or God the movement, or God that has fallen from stasis. We often speak of being centered. We haven't a clue of what that means in its absolute. At its absolute center is energy, the lacks of which you haven't a clue. That's why when the holy ones are represented by images, they have this light around them. Of course, it's not a light that people can see. I guess that's why people don't believe in holy men today, because they don't see the light going. Failing to realize that the fault is not in that which they see, but the fault is in the eyes which they see with. There lay the flaw. At the center is the shortest vibration. If you will cut anything in half, not this way, but this way, its center is hot. Its center becomes less and less form. If you were to cut the earth in half, at its center, you have the atomic explosion. there is no mass. There's energy. The further you move away from the center, the more mass becomes evident. The more it slows down and cools down. At the absolute center is the atomic explosion, the energy. Then the gases. Then the molting form of earth, or the liquid form, your liquid metals, have come into being because they have cooled. And as you come closer toward the earth's outer crust, it cools and becomes earth. As all things cut a cross-section of a spine, the spine is the center of your being. What flows through there? Energy, electricity at one of its manifestations of form. That is why you're always concerned in your yoga, in your tai chi, in your great circle meditations with the spinal cord. Seeing little balls of energy run up your spine and over. See, you have to think about this stuff. We say we're studying and on the path. All this stuff over all the years we should put together and go. A little light should go off and we say, today I have become enlightened. Placed in light, because this is why it is absolutely important to stick with a chosen discipline, because we get all this stuff and it's just stuff. We don't know what to do with it. Over the years, I have always said, I'm drawing you a, as Johnny Cochran would say, picture. The most well-spoken, articulate person, then he comes to picture. This thing is well laid out, and laid out so that if you make connections, the light will go off. It takes a mind in order to do this and to lay this picture out over 10, 15 years. It takes a mind greater than you can imagine, which says it is not the mind of a man. It's not Anand's mind, okay? It doesn't know. Do you see the scope of what is being said here? Of how something could be laid out over years and each piece fit. Everything is the message. That means, back to your half of that, what we will do, and I see it happen. I see it happen and I hear it happen quite often. What the hell? I see people judge what they see rather than trying to make what they see, trying to see where it fits. Again, we're back at that thing of mind. We're back at the gross vibration rather than at the going toward the vibration that is subtler yet than thought, than mind. I've said to you, it's a recognition. Okay? A recognition. It's and it changes you forever depending on the size of the I've said that every moment of your life you must be totally immersed in this learning process. I've said, put down the book, read the living book, because the great Father God is the point, the moment of your being. So, whatever's out here is meaningless. Affirmation, thank you. It's this study. It is amazing the numbers of spiritual seekers in the world who have sought no further than their thought. Everybody is seeking with their mind. Very few are seeking with their being. The further you get away from the core, the harder the crust becomes. The spinal cord, which is a manifestation of the subtler vibration, is encased in a hard substance you call a spine. The earth's crust is hard. It's rock. It's earth. The hardest substances known to man are on the crust. The essence is at the center. We talk thought, we're talking the level of air. But yet, isn't it manifested? Isn't it form? Then we are still removed. In our group, and we have a lot of people in our groups, overall. Sometimes people talk to me as if their opinion and my opinion are equal. Well, they are. Opinions. But one of us is talking opinion, and one of us has nothing to do with an opinion. Just the way it is. Just the way it is. One is reporting the facts. Someone said, well, I know you don't agree with me, but it is not I who should be trying to agree with you. It's you who should be trying to agree with the truth. It's not about me. But then again, it is about me. Now that's kind of hard to get with, because when we come back to stasis, then that's what it's all about, isn't it? And there is stasis. So yeah, it's about me, but it's not about me. It's about the me that you want to get to know, which is you. Which is what we all are. That which is and that which is not permeates all. That which is not permeates all that is. That is, God is in all things. That's why when you look at flesh, when you look at the atomic structure, there's always space. There is always no thing. There is always God. Always. Always, always, always. The possibility of the awakening of God is in everything. It is one of man's purposes in being is the elevation of God the Father to God the Mother, or the elevation of Seth or Satan to the level of God. And all things manifest God. I'm using that word, but let's throw that word. Okay, I'm using that word to just kind of give you a sense. I don't want this to become religious. It is religious. God is manifested in all things in direct proportion to the amount of energy that level of consciousness or vibration can sustain. There are 4 levels of vibration in man. There is 1 octave different in each thing. There's an octave where vibration exists. 1 octave higher, lower, I don't know what it all means, is gas or air. An octave different is water. An octave different is this. We're kind of talking music here, kind of. But don't confuse the two. Because you understand, music doesn't mean it doesn't mean you get these octaves, okay? Or what that octave means. You have to expand it. I've said there are 4 octaves of man, 4 octaves of vibration of man. Man is the highest. A man can manifest more vibration than any other thing in creation and sustain life. But what you have to do, you have to change the vibration. One of the things, so you've already changed the vibration from here and dropped it down here when you begin to get to think. You slowed everything down to this unreal frequency of thought, which means you have removed it from the purity of God, which exists the next frequency up, the finer vibratory frequencies. When you do that, you have created these tensions in your body and these spaces where you have the thoughts have tend to freeze or to crystallize the form of your body. That's why you have all those stresses, all those tensions. You know, some of it is just old age, okay? That's gonna happen, all right? As your frequency goes on and on and on, it starts to peter out. But that's how you change the vibratory frequency. Cancer is a crystallization of something that should not be crystallized. Generally crystallized by tensions. You know, it's amazing to me. I look at you and I'll say all this stuff about tension and then watch you create all this incredible tension in your body. Just incredible tension. But who am I? You know, whatever. You know, who am I? That is what creates these unreal things. Okay? You make it hard. You're making things hard that should not be hard. Through thought. So now the liberation must come from this. And when the liberation comes from that, you begin to manifest the higher vibrational frequencies, and you go back to stasis. So the first thing that must change is thought and the way we use it, the way we misuse it, more accurately. It's become something it has never been its purpose, never been its intention. I say that you must give up these things. You must give up even the desire for awakening. You must give it up to become awakened. Because the desire to become awakened is a thought. What you must do is sit down and wake up. Just stop. Now I know that sounds very, very simple. Very, very simple. Because I know the first question is, how do you do that? Which means the answer is, stop doing that. Stop asking that question. Just, doing is very difficult for us. Teaching martial arts, I would say, you just teach your body what to do, and then get out of the way, and it will do it. How do I do that? Stop that. Stop asking that question. Stand there. If someone is going to punch you in the face, your body knows what to do. It will move if you let it. If something is about to fly into your eye, what does your eye do? Did you have to say blink? Oh, blink. It's too late. It just does it. So the key is in letting go and trust. Faith. Faith. That is faith. It will be. That's the problem. The problem is we don't have faith. The problem is, I will say, have faith. And you'll look at me and say, but you don't understand. I said, well, I guess I don't. But until you do, it's not going to be what you want it to be. It's just not. Because you're making it be something else. You're bringing it into another realm. You're keeping it in this realm of thought rather than in the realm of just being. Coming back to Stacy's faith. I believe it was Jesus who said, if you have faith as a mustard seed, just that little tiny little bit. See, we look at this man and we talk about a son of God and this and that and all that blah, 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 blah. He had the same problem I'm having. He said what he meant. But then everybody heard something else because they weren't there. They weren't where he was. They didn't know how to use language. It became something else. There's a person who looked, who saw, who understood, and said, hey, have I got something for you? Well, that means this and that and it. No, that doesn't mean that. What you have done is reduced it to the level of thought. What you have done is reduced it to this. I am saying, here is the way. He says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man goeth to the Father except by me. He wasn't talking about the personage. Only the idiots standing on the sidelines said, oh, it's like we used to do when we do plays. And when there was background noise, everybody would stand around and go, rutabaga, 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 and would make this. That's what the people on the sidelines were doing, just making noise. Well, I don't think that he is who he says he is because of blah, blah, blah. Caught in the world of words or in the vibratory frequency of words when the man was saying, here is truth. No one goes except by truth. Am I true? Yes, I am true. I'm telling you the truth. Oh no. But see, that's what we get by being smart. We become quite dumb by being smart. I'm saying the only way is to drop the thought. Very important to understand silence and speaking. What lessons to be learned? What lessons right before your eyes? What lessons you are? Piece of cake. It's funny. Over the years, long before I came to this, I kind of looked at religions, Buddhist, Muslim, all of it. Just kind of. One of the things that clinched it was going to the countries of origin of these religions. and seeing them not understand it. Seeing them be the same as anyone in any religion. Because it is the nature of religion itself to teach a lie. It is the nature of it. Because blah, 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 blah. Rutabaga, 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 rutabaga. Rutabaga, rutabaga, rutabaga. Oh yeah, rutabaga, rutabaga, rutabaga. I'm saying this is not a religion because it is not defined in any terms by anything. Just look for the truth. Where do you look? In you. Because you have your center, and that center is God. That center is that thing that is no thing. But you have to look. You have to look. You have to go. And when you go, you just sit and watch the moon rise over the earth. That's cool. That's fine. Doesn't matter that a moment ago I was sitting in my bed. What does it matter? It doesn't. It matters that I'm sitting here now watching the moon rise. That matters. I have not known in my lifetimes one who has arrived by studying a religion. No. No. If you notice, we can go back. Let's go back in terms of the Judeo-Christian thing. Let's go take it back to Moses. He didn't read the book. He didn't even know he was a Jew. He thought he was an Egyptian, raised to be a prince of Egypt. Cast out on the desert for 40 years. He didn't have a book with him. Didn't sit down and see now. Oh, okay, it says this. Okay, I'm ready to go now. Let's go deliver the people. It was the burning out of the crap. And he said, now. Okay, now. Now. The burning bush, we talk about the fire, the essence. The essence. The essence of all things. Then let's talk about the man Jesus. He didn't read a book. Say, oh, here's a book. You shall all be known as Christians from now on, and this is how you. No. And what book for Buddha? What book? What religion? It seems to me that those who formed or who were instrumental in the religion had nothing to do with a religion, but religions became named after them. You have the Buddhist, who run around and look for the Bodhi tree, because that's where Buddha was when it went down. It had nothing to do with a damn tree. Nothing to do with a tree except the tree of life and death that exists within all men. The tree of good and evil, the tree of life and death. The two sides of the same coin. The understanding through going here? It is very difficult. It's difficult to face yourself because of egoism. It is easy to discuss philosophy. Very easy, because we can say, I think, and blah, blah, and blah, blah. And the other guy says, and blah, blah, blah. Well, blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. What are you doing? With each other. That's all. What's it mean? Nothing. It can give me some understanding. No, it can give you some confusion. Because it makes you think you know something that you don't know. You must know it. You must be it. And there's only one way. To go directly to that center within you. It has been described. When we unleash the atomic bomb, we unleash the power of God on humanity. At the center of the atom that we split, as at the center of all things, lie the force. That is not thing. That is not a thing. If you look at the earth, were it not for the crusting and the spinning to create centrifugal force, to balance the force of God within, all things would go boom. So there must be a balance between the things, right? And when we went in there and went click, split the crust of the atom, the force that was God was released. And it was enough to burn shadows into walls. Shadows. A shadow. A thing that is not a thing. Into a wall. To return everything immediately to God. Where is it? Well, we say it was vaporized. Yeah. It is no more. The balance must be struck between flesh and God. There must be a crust, but not the crust that we have falsely created through this. I got to have a man. I got to have a woman. I got to have this. I got to have that. I got to have $1 zillion. I got to have power. I got to be the mayor. I got to be the president. I got to be the senator. I got to be. You can have what you need. You can have what you want. It's a piece of cake. You can have what you want, what you really want, what your heart of hearts says. You can have it. Believe me, not everybody wants the same thing. Point is, there's an old saying, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, or the kingdom of leaven, and all things shall be added unto you. But we get frustrated. We get in a hurry. And we forget what we're supposed to be doing. We're doing what we have always done. That's why you have to look at all the stuff that runs through your mind and how your mind controls your being. And you have to say, wait, stop. Just stop and take control. I have not known it yet, that all the frustration and all the running around in circles and jumping up and down has done anything except make you run in more circles and jump up and down. You see, so there's the law, and there is an expansion of what we talked about the week before. You have work to do. The examination of life is a moment-to-moment, day-by-day thing. There's no time to go to sleep. When you're doing it, it's being here. Well, okay, now do what you're supposed to be doing while you're here. Pay attention, study, learn, grow. It is your recognition, your recognition, your oh! That makes the difference. To see how it works. To really, really understand the laws. To really understand them. To understand it. To stand under it. To see from beneath. To understand. To see it. You can't see it from beneath it when you're in it. So you got to mess with that until you figure out how to understand it. Study. Study. You can study this in whatever you're doing. It doesn't matter what you are doing. It doesn't matter. Study this. It doesn't matter that I may have the answer. Well, I'll ask Anand. What good does that do you? That's why most of the time I don't give you the answer. I'll say, I don't know. Or something equally stupid. Because it doesn't do you any good. The only thing that does you any good is when the light goes off in your head. When you have studied and you become so frustrated, perhaps it is time to re-evaluate the way in which you are looking. Perhaps it is time to re-evaluate the tool with which you are looking. You can't understand it with mind. You cannot understand no mind with mind. You must go to, all things must go to like and kind. I say, you cannot bullshit me because I understand bullshit. I was one of the biggest bullshitters on the planet. I know it. And the reason I understood it, because bullshit went to bullshit. Piece of cake. Like and kind. It's a clue. There's a clue. Relax. Let things be. It will state and use the words. That's why I say you got to listen to me now about these words. Because it's time to hear the words as they are being said. Because when you know, it knows. It says, bam. It says exactly what it means. But you have to understand that the words are meant to describe, to de-word, and you have to drop the word and go to what has been painted. Enough. Thank you for your time. Have a good Easter.